Alright, welcome back everybody to Wargroove 2. Not quite ideal. Electro must save a friend from a dangerous new enemy. Philtrum, please calm yourself. We have to go back. Yeah, but without a plan. Hey guys. Private Falky, where have you been? Madam Pistol needed us for something important. Should have cleared that with General. We need you. Lytra? Lytra, the humans they've from. Save yourselves, this was their last order. We should have done something. Why couldn't we do anything? Not your fault, Philtrum. We're outnumbered. And where were our numbers, I wonder? So, what's the plan? We don't have a choice, do we? We have to save him, right? It will not be easy. But now the other half of the army is finally back. We may just stand a chance. Come, we must prepare. Yes. Saving Rom is captured. Okay. Thank you, achievement. We've arrived. Red soldiers have made their base in the compound ahead. Oh. We should strike soon, but we must be careful. In the fog, we don't know the enemy's numbers or their resources. We do not wish to mince words there. This is not quite ideal. What are your orders? I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. You need to put... You need not put this all upon yourself, friend. Yes, General relies on us to help with strategy.
What do we do?
Perhaps we could send half our forces to circle around to the north. Attacking from two fronts could be advantageous.
But...
We have us strong in two pieces. Shouldn't we stick together? Such low visibility is difficult to say. Sorry, I cannot be more help, but we still must make a decision. Split up, stick together. Split up, stick together. Split up, stick together. So the diversion would be nice. Split the army in half. 1, 3... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 3, 4, 5. Depends on how you split this army. Split it like this. Or even like this. I think I'd be okay. Well, something like that. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Trying to think of an easy way to do this. Oh, split up, I guess. I'll probably regret this. Understood. Covert team, move out. Okay, well, it takes them a turn to reach the north. Should do what we can here for now. Okay, fair enough. What was that? Yeah, it sounds like we got a golem. I hope I made the right choice. Storm the enemy compound and rescue Rom. Remember, you can use scout units to see further ahead in the fog. Scout unit on mount, the bow tells in any direction. Okay. So what are... Scout? Soldier... So I think the plan is, obviously we take the barracks to my left, and then we go and capture the village, the 3 villages in close proximity to me, including that one up there, and the one to our right, and then on our follow-up turn we should be able to, well, we should definitely be able to take the village northwest from where our commander is, and we'll go from there and expand out. We know that the little castle things are viewpoints, scouting towers. Isn't a barracks or a village? So it may be useful for our efforts. I'll investigate. Yeah, I gotta kind of keep pushing my guys. Splitting the army was probably not, I wouldn't say it was not ideal. Just depends on where they're going to end up at the top. It'll give us extra resources, allow us to build up a two-front army. The big downside is we're going to have to spend more time recruiting our stronger units down here. The bear people have returned. I'm pretty sure we're mice or rats. I would say we're more micey than we're rats, but I'm not exactly sure what Lytra is. She's kind of reminds me more of a bunny rabbit than a mouse, and that might be why she doesn't fit in with her other cohorts. Got the last one's round. What should we do with them? ... Yes, sir, of course, sir. Got a lot of answers for Buddy. Romb. Well, I can guess who the, commander is. Right, sure, we could use these structures to fund our mission. Lumber mills turn surrounding forest tiles into gold. Hooray. First, select the lumber mill. Then choose as many adjacent forest tiles as you'd like. When you finish, select the mill once more to confirm. So the more forest you select, the more money you get. But it is exponentially, well, not exponentially more, but if you select you select one forest, you get 100. If you select two forests, you end up with 250. You know, 3 would be probably somewhere around, what, 400 or 500, I'd say. And it keeps going up from there. You could have a max of 8. If you think about the lumber mill being the center, it's surrounded on all 4 sides and corners. That would be a total of 8 forests in total. So ideally you want to wait for the lumber mill to be fully stocked up on forests, so you can cut them down all at the same time. Really get all that bonus extra cash as quickly as possible. Our plan is to try to avoid the center. And we're going to go left and right. And same thing up top. We're going to go left and right. We're going to take the excess. We're going to take the extra villages that are up top to get the extra extra funds. I'm a little upset that I only ended up with 1 soldier as our dog/bug unit, and our cavaliers cannot take villages. They can only kind of knock them down. So I gotta send my only spear person over here in order to activate the base, the barracks, before we start continuing down to capture the other villages. So gonna be building a decent number of either spear people or regular foot soldiers. I'm being somewhat cautious in the fog of war. As I mentioned in the last episode, you never know when there's going to be someone just sort of hiding out in the fog of war. And I kind of get flashbacks to Fire Emblem / Advance Wars, where despite the fact that you're on one side of the map and they're on the other side, you know, you appear on this side of the map, there are a lot of guys that tend to hide out in the forest and shit.
No!
No!
Stay back.
Stay back! As I was trying to say earlier but got distracted, I'm pretty sure it's based on the people they're showing me. The commander is Caesar, the dog, because those two were seen only in Caesar missions. They're his guard people. I want to say guard dog. guard people, and they tend to translate everything Caesar says, though you're not really sure if they're making up stuff like, oh, could you do a doggy woggy? Oh, you wanna go for a walkie? You wanna go for a walkie, yo doggy? You know? Oh yeah, you wanna go for a walkie? So, plan is to continue left and right, and we're gonna get the mills, and then once we get around to the other side of the wall, we'll do kind of it's not really going to be a pincer attack, but it's going to be kind of like you're going out and we're going to pincer into the center, take the other barracks, and then from there we'll do a full push into the center. Hopefully by that point we'll have our northern units ready to go, and we'll push from the north, south, east, west, I don't know. Basically, each group is going to be split down the center into east and west, and we have a southern group and we have a northern group that are going to kind of converge somewhere. I wouldn't say in the middle, but closer where that highlighted area is. That's the plan anyways. Also trying to figure out where the hell the golem is. I haven't heard him moving around recently, but I'm sure he's out there somewhere. So yeah, we need to capture shit as best we can. Our dog's gonna scout for us, mainly. And then we can focus on capturing stuff here and there and everywhere. Ugh. It's like the one time that I'd rather have a soldier over a spearman. Because that extra movement's gonna end up costing me a whole turn. Oh, stop attacking my shit, that's rude. Not to get in the weeds here too much, but because we're obviously not playing Advance Wars, but one of the things that I've heard people complain about in competitive Advance Wars is the fact that you can hear the units moving, and particularly for plane type units, it's very easy to know that if you're hearing this noise, you know, the sound of that you've got either fighter jets or bombers in the air, and you know, because the bombers are taken out so easily by fighter jets, you just produce more fighter jets. So if you ever hear something in the air, you should just produce more fighter jets. And I think that's why they decided later on to introduce the stealth bomber. But the problem with the stealth bomber was it was kind of too expensive. And it was, if it had done like everything, maybe I could understand how expensive it was, but like there were a couple like, I wouldn't say missteps. There were a couple things that I think that Advance Wars, when they started introducing more units, couldn't seem to figure out how to balance. One of them was obviously all ships were heavily overpriced, and I understand that's sort of based on a reality where ships are going to be, you could produce way more airplanes than you can ships, but the durability of the ships was never high enough for the cost that went into them, you know? Like if you had made those, no, great. You again, you really are furry, aren't you? Been years since I've returned to Starglass. I won't fight you, I refuse. Whatever you're doing, I hope it's for the right reason. Okay, fair enough. So one of the things I always thought would be ideal for Advance Wars is to either reduce the cost of ships to make them more in line with the competitive thing, or to make them much more durable. Versus anything that was, say, not like good, and I tell you, you're no match for the boss. Now then, who sent you? Won't talk, eh? We have ways of fixing that. Commander, what do you think? Ah, bad news for you, my friend. Take him away.
Please.
So, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. So you have a battleship, or let's say I know they later tried to introduce aircraft carriers, but they never monetarily made sense because they were too fragile and too expensive for what you got out of them. But I always thought it'd be kind of interesting is if you left the ship's price the same, but you made them more durable to anything that wasn't an ocean type vessel. Or a bomber. I guess a bomber would be one, but I would also reduce the amount of I wouldn't say range, but I was going to say gas that they have, so that when they're going on bombing missions, they can't just go out and just fucking bomb the shit out of things. They have to be able to come back to, you know, they only have a range where, you know, that range is only so many, you know, tiles long if they want to continue to use that. And then I'd also make it so that, you know, you would not be able to restock a flying unit, you know, using a APC. You'd have to use another flying type APC, like a helicopter or something. I don't know. Transport copter could also carry fuel. I know it's not very realistic, but it's just in terms of cost, it just makes more sense to make bombers over bombers and fighters over the others. You know, any sort of sea unit. Either that or give the ships a better chance against air units. Like, you could legitimately have anti-air capabilities on most of the ships that weren't, say, submarines or landers. I mean, they don't have to be super strong. You could have, like, you know, you could have, obviously, the cruisers, but you could also have a destroyer that's essentially designed for, you know, taking out primarily air units. Or like how you have an artillery versus a rocket. Like that. I know I'm not talking about the game, but it always kind of, these little things, particularly Fog of War, always reminds me of Advance Wars. Because you kind of want to go slow. So you can, you know, not get surprised. In a lot of cases, the computer tends to cheat. And, you know, like, I can see you, but you can't see me sort of bullshit. You know there's a guy there, Chris. That's okay. Infiltrate the enemy base, proceeding with caution. Not really. That was the opposite of caution. That was blatantly seeing how far you go. More possum people are at the gates. Grim news indeed. We barely escaped the last encounter. Soldiers Jerry's done. Prepare for battle. I guess this is where they start attacking. Alright, so they're gonna start attacking. Okay, that's fine. Elytra doesn't take... He can take damage like that, that's fine. The 7-7 trade is pretty good considering I'm fighting one of the biggest weaknesses.
What?
That's the golem. That's not gonna be too much of a problem. Elytra basically negates golems in this game, not just because golems and commanders are roughly the same strength level, but like she can just fucking pick up the golem and send, you know, with her groove and just kind of put it on a space that it can't be on, like, I don't know, the wall, and it just disappears. Oof, gone. Doesn't exist anymore. Hello today. Finally, we're capturing that. I also just noticed that there are gates. See the gates here? There's one directly below the spear guy. There's one that is between our dog, our foot soldier, and cavalier there on the right side. In fact, there's looks like there's two on this side. Here's one here, and there's one there. And then there's one on the left, too. That's annoying. Bullshit. That's alright, we'll figure it out. It's gotta be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 turns before we'll get to the gate. Yeah, maybe 4. Kind of glad that rampant aura doesn't exist in this game. That was a very nice thing in Tactics Ogre, but like due to the limited number of slots I had, I rarely used it. It was sort of like a fill-in slot. Like, do you want more health or do you want to be able to stop the enemy from moving? Kind of balancing my options there. Oh, that's a dead dog. Easily. I know it's up there now, but that dog has been sacrificed for the greater good, I think. The worser good.
Here goes nothing.
Hunky dunky. And if they're going to, I think we have to recruit you guys now. Need something fast that can move. One thing I do like about this game, and I've probably already mentioned it either in the Wargroove 1 playthrough, is they very much prioritize keeping your units alive. The beast is finally ready to talk. Do your worst. I wouldn't be so sure of that. Hope it's not too dark in there. Boss says you should conserve your energy. Where are you going? Oh, just for a walk. Chat with the mate. Visit the pond. Ah, good questions. I'm not sure I will enjoy your stay. So, like in Advance Wars, I wouldn't say you want to always sacrifice your units. You know, just kind of leave them on the battlefield is either like I don't know, bait. I don't know if bait's the right word or not. The enemy into a bigger counterattack. But it's unusual, I guess I should say, for you to take like even like a foot soldier and want to retreat with that foot soldier, because by the time you've retreated him and healed him, you know, you've wasted multiple turns because they heal slowly, and you could have easily just made another foot soldier, you know. In this one, it's like more like, well, you get one base, and you get to produce one unit from that base every turn. So all of a sudden, both folk are attacking something. So it's better for you to take, say, an injured unit, whether it be even just a foot soldier, and take it back to a nearby village and have it heal itself up. Which does cost you money to heal it, but it's like in the same proportion by which you would buy a new, you know, a new unit, and then you don't have to traipse them across the map to get them to the front line in battle. You just have to retreat them slightly to the nearest village, have them heal, and then, you know, continue on with the push. Whereas if you push all your enemies into the center, you know, push all your characters into the center and just let them die, that reinforcement takes a while to catch up. So, you know, it's better to group your army into one big group and then push as a big group instead of, and retreat even as a group, rather than sacrifice a push and have it ultimately stall out because you don't have enough health or you don't have enough, you know, units. I understand in a more competitive version of this game, you would probably try to balance. Is it worth setting the character back? Is it worth keeping them here? You know, what do we do? That sort of thing. I would say for the most part, though, you're probably going to want to, yeah, we're trying to connect our armies now. You want to, probably going to want to try to, like I said, the answer is to push your, when you have the advantage, you push the advantage. When you don't have the advantage, you retreat back until you do have the advantage again. Just a little bit of knowing how, I guess, the units interact with each other. You know, you'll never get a perfect balance, I don't think, in a game, because inevitably someone will figure out that, you know, if I take these units and put them together in this grouping, it'll be more efficient for my money than if you take these units and put them together. Or, you know, oh, the meta is currently going heavy on dogs, so I should get something to counter the dogs, instead of just kind of like, you know, in that regard. Then you have to balance, okay, how long does it take for the, you know, movement, cost, you know, I send 20, you know, 10 dogs into a mission, but they easily get countered by a spear user, or, you know, 2 spear users. You know, you gotta figure out how you better balance that army then. Yep, that was guaranteed. That's okay. We knew that was gonna happen. They're probably blocked on all 4 sides. I mean, but you get my point. I mean, you know, particularly with these guys that have the armor, I mean, they become more valuable to me, so you want to make sure that they don't die because they have armor on them, and then you go heal them up so they're at full life again, so they just you know, they go after the, you know, they come back in full strength with armor. Go dogs. Big dog.